show's about to start, so we need to talk about Kumar
Hey,
Rocker, Jeff Gladner, John Radigan. What are you doing?
What? The clothes? I mean,
No.
oh, you're worried about the shorts. I get it.
No,
I'm behind the desk. Nobody
no.
will see me.
It's not like that this
What?
time.
It's the tie.
We're not wearing ties.
We're not wearing ties.
We're not wearing ties? On TV? We're not wearing ties.
Hey,
You gotta
put
be
this on,
kidding
too.
me. I get to dress like a fan?
Not only did you get to dress like a fan, you get to talk like a fan.
It's awesome. We get to talk to the fans. We get to talk about the Rangers. It's DLLS Rangers starting now. Hey, it is time to talk ball, y'all. Baseball, that is, like it has never been talked before. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. I'm John Radigan. That's Jeff Wilson. Between us, we've been on this beat for like nearly 4 decades. That's Abby Jones. She's fairly new to the beat, but we're so glad to have her, an influx of talent and youth among us crusty old baseball guys. Jeff.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's 1, 2, 3 in the age.
That's right.
Pecking order, oldest to youngest. Not that you're old, John, but
thank you.
Yeah,
I am.
And me neither. But we do get stumped by technology. That's why you see Abby doing
That's
all
why you
that.
have me here.
Yeah, that's why. And
Abby's
in charge of our social media too, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
Radigan, are you a little more comfortable?
oh my God, for 40 years, I wore a tie on TV. Now
Well-
I'm in a T-shirt. I've wanted to do a show like this my entire career.
And now you get the chance to, but we have a little something to commemorate our very first show. We want to give you the tie cut up. This is a monumental moment
That's
with
fantastic.
DLLS Rangers podcast. So our gift to you.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
I put Jeff's name on it
Yeah.
too.
We should put it somewhere in the
Put
background.
it up there. It was my favorite tie,
Yeah.
by the way. I appreciate that. My very best tie. Jeff just goes rogue and cuts it. Thought we were at the old
Trail
Dust
Dust
Steakhouse
That's right.
where they used to cut
I got that
ties
jingle
up.
in my head right now.
New rules. So
Yeah.
be sure to like and subscribe. We know that you guys want to be up to date with all of the most recent Rangers information. Jeff's going to be writing some great pieces here. We're going to be doing a fun, keyword there, very fun daily show. We're going to have candid conversations about the game. So be sure to like and subscribe to your favorite Rangers podcast, DLLS Rangers podcast. We've got a ton of other great stuff. Be sure to check out everything at ALLCITY Network.
Yeah, and I had a lot of subscribers at Rangers Today where I've been the last few years, and I sent them out emails, and some of them are like a little concerned. The writing's the same. The writing's not changing. I'm going to write every day. As long as there's baseball, as long as there's news to write, it's going to be written. So you don't have to worry about any of the Rangers coverage that you've become accustomed to changing. It's just changing addresses to ALDLLS.com/Rangers, and voila, there's a bunch of stories on there already.
And in fact, before we get into a little bit more about who the heck we are, in case you don't know, we have to tell who the heck we are, as in ALLCITY, as in DLLS Rangers. You saw the blitz this morning on social media. How great was that? And my phone, of course, as yours were, absolutely blowing up. And people are going, where? How? What? Right? They're wondering what we're doing here. This is what we're doing. We're doing daily podcasts. We're doing pre- and post-game shows. We've got merch to sell. And the thing I love best about what we're doing here, it's the culture. Thank you very much, right? This is great culture. We're going to be here every day, even in the off season, talking Texas Rangers baseball. And we've got podcasts for all the major 4 sports teams on this network right now. And in fact, opening day, and we're going to have a dadgum emergency podcast because the Cowboys have signed C.D. Lamb. So stay tuned for that later in the day. It's an emergency podcast. I hope you saw the others. We've had a Cowboys show on. We've had a Mavericks show on. They've been great. We're just trying to follow in their footsteps, Jeff.
Hey, I mean, we've kind of got like an Avengers team going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent here. I mean, you know, you can just look up and down these rosters of the beats, the sports beats, and I don't want to pound my chest. So, you know, I'll go to the Cowboys and Clarence Hill, who's my longtime buddy who we used to work together in Fort Worth, and you know, Tim Cato, who's covered the Mavs so well, and then a guy like John Radigan, who's been around this market since 1990. So, yeah, we know what we're doing.
John, I wasn't even born then.
Oh, I know. I've heard that from so many of my colleagues now. And the one question I always ask, and I think I know the answer to this one too, is if I'm older than their parents. I think I'm probably older than your dad. How old is he?
I really would have to ask Google.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Well, let's go to the baseball reference.
It's like 56.
Yeah,
I think 54.
Let's just say I'm not. All right, I'm premature.
Yeah, we'll take the under.
Yes, please. I'm prematurely gray. Absolutely prematurely gray. And so, yeah, we are so excited to be. He's 56. Yeah,
Sorry, Dad.
Might be a little bit older than him. I can't remember myself. You know, mine changes every year. So let's dive into who we are and what we've done. And Abby, you're the newcomer to the beat. So tell us about yourself and what we can expect from you on this podcast.
For sure. As corny as it sounds, I do feel like baseball chose me. I was born and raised literally at the baseball field. I think I was at my first baseball game, I'm not joking, when I was 2 weeks old. My dad flew in the day that I was born because he had a game. They didn't have the paternity leave back then. So he flew in that day. I think he held me for a few hours. And then, love you, baby, I got to go play a game. So,
I'll see you in October.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, it chose me. And I have been so fortunate to just follow that path and do everything that I can to return back to the diamond. The coolest thing for me is I have a lot of fond memories about growing up and following my dad in his career, and one of my favorite parts is baseball is truly a family. So I feel like every single time that the Rangers have a new home series, I'm calling my dad saying, oh, didn't you play with this guy in Boston or whatever? Or I grew up with his daughter, and it's seriously just like the biggest family reunion. So that's my intro to baseball, but I am new to Dallas.
Yeah.
And I moved here 3 years ago, joined with Bally Sports Southwest. Incredible opportunities covering the Rangers, the Stars, the Mavericks. The list goes on. Me and Rads had a few great days together there. But I mean, the great thing about Alabama, great and bad, is you don't have to pick a professional team because you simply don't have one. So naturally, everyone in my hometown is a Braves fan.
Right.
Which I do not agree with that sentiment, but that's definitely for another conversation. So, you know, I really dove in with Dallas sports teams. I'm Dallas loyal now. I'm thrilled to be talking about Texas Rangers baseball with you guys. We're so lucky to cover a World Series championship. There's some family photos.
That's nice.
My dad still has the Fu Man.
It's a little lighter now.
It is a little
It
bit
is
lighter.
a little lighter. That happens to people.
You know, I'm just glad he's not dyeing it. That'd be worse.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
embrace the gray. But yeah, I mean, I'm literally so excited to be here, and you guys are great. So.
Well, just wait till you get to know us.
Yeah, exactly. You got no idea.
Yeah. I guess I'm the next relative newcomer, though. I started working at the Fort Worth newspaper in 1993. So I've been around a while, covering the Rangers for the 17th season. Covered TCU before that, some fun stuff. I'll be helping out on our TCU coverage here at DLLS. So, you know, I love dogs, as it says. I mean, I don't know who couldn't like dogs,
yes.
And anybody who doesn't needs to go to hell, basically. And so, anyway, we're just here to have a good time. You know, I wear a hat every day, but it's like a journalist hat. You know, I really, honestly, don't root for the teams I cover. Inside, I might a little bit.
Yeah.
I definitely root for the people, because that's
Yeah.
what it's about. You get to know these players, and you want good things to happen for them in big situations. So, you know, I will admit I was rooting for the Rangers in the World Series because I had a book deal pending on it, and the difference in the money was pretty significant if they won or if they lost. So when we got to Game 5, I was wound pretty tight. But it's been a fun ride. A lot of great friends I've made along the way. Gotten to know a lot of people I would have never met in life, like you two. So that's probably the best thing about the job is who we get to meet, the things we get to see. And I mean, let's face it, we're covering sports.
Yeah.
We're not at a desk from 9 to 5. I tried that once; it wasn't very good. So, look, this is what I want to do, and the opportunity here at DLS is phenomenal.
It's unbelievable. And yes, I always tell people when they say, what's it like being a sportscaster? I say it beats working for a living, right? I mean, it feels like we don't have to work when we go to work.
True.
But you and I did, Jeff, and it doesn't work this way quite as much anymore, but we cut our teeth in journalism, right? We are and were, I was more so, objective, right? And so then, about 1996, I got on the Rangers broadcast, and I was told we're partners with the team. So essentially that means you're no longer objective. But I've been covering sports somewhat objectively here in the market since 1990, as Jeff mentioned, 28 years on the Rangers broadcast. And you see the great note there. Caddyshack is still my favorite movie. They've never made a better comedy ever.
I was going to I saw that you'd put that as your number 3, and I was going to say Caddyshack's my favorite movie too, but I didn't know what order they were going to go, so I didn't want to spoil it. But
out of order.
I mean, it's phenomenal. I can quote it from start to finish.
Me too.
And so we'll be making a lot of references that probably only people our age will get.
Yeah, I was
but that's
gonna
fine.
say,
That's fine.
Abby, have you ever
I'll
even
just
seen
nod
it?
and laugh.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
No.
Oh,
But
Have you heard of it?
No.
You have required homework. You need to
I
watch
will.
Caddyshack.
I will say my dad's done a pretty good job of making me watch every big movie, so this is on my list.
Yeah, get it on the list. It's fantastic. So, it's really fun to be here. It's really fun to have the opportunity to talk about Rangers baseball. So, obviously the season's only about a month left in the season. So we're starting this at a time when we'll have a chance to show you what we do. Right now, we, as the DLLS Rangers show, are a little bit of the guinea pigs, right? We're showing you what our coverage is going to look like on a daily, yes, I said daily, basis. So we'll be doing post-game shows and some pre-game shows for the last game of each series throughout the rest of the season. And then, of course, as sort of the how well the team is playing demands, we may start doing post-games and pre-games for everything. That probably won't happen this year, but next year, who knows, we might. And you will see from what we do what the Cowboys show is going to do, what the Mavericks show is going to do, what the Stars show is going to do. I'm proud of the fact that I kind of helped recruit old Craig Ludwig to the Stars show.
Nice work.
So, nice getting Luddy back on board. Luds and I are on the same team again. So I think this is so exciting, the fact that we have these podcasts every single day.
Yeah, and because baseball, there's 162 games. But no one game is the same.
So amazing.
They're all different, and if you want to call it a snowflake or whatever, every game is different. It may look the same. The Rangers may lose a game 4-0, then 2-0, then 1-0. But there's something different in every one of those games, and that's what makes baseball so great. You never know what you're going to see at the ballpark. I mean, just earlier this month, Framber Valdez takes a no-hitter, 8 2/3 innings, gives up a 2-run homer. He comes out, Rangers put the tying run on base, and Josh Young almost ties the game with a ball to the wall. So you're one batter away from being no hit, and then you're 6 feet away from tying the game and forcing extra innings. I mean, you just don't know what to expect.
That's why you can't leave early. That's why you must tune in to our post-game podcast whenever we have one, because it's huge, it's important, it's special, and I still get that sort of feeling, those butterflies, when it's game time, Abby, and I'm sure you've been to so many over the years. I wonder if you still do.
Absolutely, I do, John Radigan.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I do.
I love that. Yeah. So we're going to talk a lot more about the Rangers. That's the whole mission here. We're going to do it all season long. We'll be talking about the Rangers. And in fact, we got to ask the question, what the hell happened here? That's coming up. But first, we want to remind you about Sleeper. I think you already know all about Sleeper, but we want to remind you about it because this is really nice. This is big. This is an opportunity for you, a fantasy player, to play like you've never played before. Of course, you can do your normal fantasy leagues and your normal fantasy bits within Sleeper, but here's something that's very different. You can make quote-unquote prop bets throughout there, like we were talking about the other day, will Jacob DeGrom allow more than 3 runs in a game, right? Of course he won't. He never will. I don't think he ever has, right? Or will the Rangers take 2 out of 3 from the Chicago White Sox, or will they sweep them again, right? These are all little prop bets that you can make, and you can do it with the help of us. Because if you use the code DLLS, you get a $100, up to a $100 match from the good folks at Sleeper. So we want you to make sure you use that code DLLS Rangers to get your $100 match. Go to sleeper.com and have some fun.
With someone else's money, right?
Yeah, why not?
That's the best part
Use
of it.
theirs.
My son's very excited. He got into the daily fantasy stuff with his uncle Adam, and I'm all for it. He's 12. Got to start him young on the gambling front. So I told him about Sleeper, and he's ready to fire out some picks. So that's probably happening maybe tonight.
As long as it's his money, right?
Well, it'll probably be my money.
Okay. Well, I personally have never hired anybody. Have you?
Not yet.
Have you?
I've hired some people for Rangers today, but they didn't want to take any money. So I don't think I really have hired anybody.
Well, Jeff's also self-employed.
That's
so.
right.
Jeff, if you were a boss and you were hiring somebody, do you have any kind of idea about the hiring process you would go through?
Well, I'd probably go to Indeed.
Indeed, you should.
Yeah.
You know, that's the slogan. They're driven by research for better candidates. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to do that is to not even search. They just go through a matching process. So it's kind of like dating. They see if you're a good fit. They see if you're a good fit. 1 + 1 = 2, majority of the time. No, but it's, you know, if you need to hire, then you need Indeed, because it's going to do the guesswork for you as a CEO, business leader, all of those things. You don't really have time to scroll through everything. And are you going to trust the intern to do it? Or, you know, is your criteria going to meet their criteria? There's a lot of factors here, but Indeed will figure it out for you according to their data. They have 350 million global monthly visitors. So you are going to definitely be put in the right pool. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging. So it's kind of like the one-stop shop if you're hiring somebody. And they do it faster. 93% of employers are Indeed deliverers, and they promise the highest quality matches. Did you know that while we were talking, 23 hires were made?
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
So if
anybody I know?
I don't know.
I got a lot of friends out there.
I don't know.
Looking for work.
Phone calls soon. So listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast, DLLS Rangers Podcast. Again, it's Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions may apply. You need a hire? You need Indeed. And Indeed, we will talk about the 2024 Texas Rangers. But first, Elijah, I have a gift for my host.
Oh, wow.
I just want to spend one moment to relive, not too far, but just, you know, we got to have a little memorabilia from last year.
Oh, it's very nice.
Here you go.
Is that for me?
Oh, it's for you.
That's
It's
for me.
you guys.
I love the gold trimmed everything.
Yeah.
Actually,
I mean,
uniforms on opening day. You know,
I had to ditch the Hall of Fame hat.
I'm just
we'll wear
saying.
this
I got a
one the rest
really
of the
big
way.
head. Hang on.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm, you know, not like that.
You
I
and
mean,
Bruce
yeah,
Bochy?
like that. I've
So-
always had a big. Here we go.
We're going to definitely dive into 2024.
Okay,
We
let's
have
go.
to. But I just wanted to put a smile
Well-
on everyone's face briefly.
Thank you
That
very
was
much.
fantastic.
You're
We
very nice.
appreciate that. It's beautiful. And
Oh, hey, look, I got you a bottle of water.
see, this is.
She's
Jeff,
just
they-
showing us up.
They said you don't really have a sweet side. They were wrong.
She does. He does. Yeah.
I'm a
So,
lover, not a fan.
you know, at my previous stops along the way, NBC5, Fox Sports Net, of course, Bally, I would not be allowed to say what the hell happened here?
Yeah.
But Jeff, I mean, what else can you do? What else can you say? This team is not performing. I think it's not performing like any of us expected to. And
Right.
I know there are a lot of reasons why.
Yeah, I wrote a story for to launch day to day at DLLS.com/Rangers about how did this happen? How did the Rangers get here? It's supposed to be this glorious parade through the streets and just carpet ride right up to the next postseason. But you can point to the offense. I think that's pretty obvious. It's been awful. The pitching was really good, but here lately it's subsided. Injuries, of course, have been a big deal. But I really think that there's been. You can go all the way back to last season. The injury started last year. Corey Seager was playing at the end of the year with a sports hernia that he didn't get fixed until January because he was trying to tough it out, I guess.
Yeah.
Adolis Garcia was hurt in the World Series. Jonah Heim, remember last July, they thought his season was over.
Right.
And all of a sudden, here he is. He didn't even have surgery. But those guys were delayed to start the season or didn't have much of a spring training. And I know Adolis started real well, but then he petered off. Jonah was okay. He's petered off. I really think that you can't underestimate the effect of playing an extra month of the most intense, mentally draining games you've ever played, and then having one less month to recover. And I know some of these guys have done it. Corey Seager done it, and Corey Seager's having a great year. After his first month, once everything got churning again, he's been great. But there are many factors. And then not to bring up a sore spot, John, but the Bally TV deal is definitely hanging over this club.
Yeah.
Not only it was hanging over him last offseason.
Yeah.
They did not re-sign Jordan Montgomery. How would that have looked if this team signs Jordan Montgomery or signs a bat, maybe signs JD Martinez and does it early so these guys have spring training and so. And then what that did was it forced Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter into everyday roles, and maybe they weren't quite ready yet. So you can throw a whole bunch of things, but the fact of the matter is nobody expected to be having this conversation about the 2024 Texas Rangers.
I want to point out, too, it's about managing expectations because last year the Rangers didn't have expectations on them. Literally not at all. When players are playing with feel and not really, head in the stats or the analytics or really a pressure. I mean, they're Major League Baseball players. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder and some pressure and definitely know what's at stake every single time. But it's definitely different when you are the defending World Series champions. You're just handled differently in the following season. You're pitched too differently. Players got exposed in the World Series. Evan Carter, Adolis Garcia, those guys really put on the most pivotal stage in the sport, or the most prestigious stage in the sport, and now they're pitched too differently, and it's how they handle it. Adolis Garcia's struggled this season, and maybe he is having a hard time managing his own expectations. Was that his career year last year, or is that the kind of guy that he is and can produce on a consistent basis? These are questions that athletes have to figure out themselves and ask, and that you're going to get X amount of homers from Corey Seager every year. I mean, that's why you signed him for as much as you did. But really, when you look at 2023, it was the perfect storm, which does not happen often in sports. And usually when it does, you end up with a ring.
Yeah.
And then managing expectations of this year, the defending world champs. And again, like you said, there's been problems with the offense, with pitching, with injuries, and all these things. They're not excuses, but they are reasons. And there's a huge difference in that statement because these guys want, their ego and their pride. They want to go out and defend this better than anybody. So I think you just have to kind of look at, last year to this year. It's just a polarizing difference.
There's no question about that, and it proves what we've heard. Jeff and I have heard it forever. You probably heard it from your dad back in the day, Abby, and that is that every single team is different, right? And so this team, even though if you look at the roster and you look at the players, you go, basically the same guys as last year, except they added Wyatt Langford, who's going to be great, right? I mean, so how can this team not do as well as last year's team? Well, this is a different team, and of course, a different season.
Right.
I'm friends with, and we're hoping to bring the Nate Newton podcast over here to our All City and to DLLS. But anyway, I talked to Nate about that. They won Super Bowls in 3 out of 4 years, and they didn't have as much free agency back in those days. And I said, was it the same team? He says, absolutely not. There are additions, there are subtractions, there are injuries. Of course, there are different opponents in different order. It's never the same team, and it can't be the same season. And as much as we would like for it to be a little closer, a little more similar, it speaks to very clearly that they're all different teams.
Yeah, and to Abby's point about the expectations, I think that it's affected Adolis Garcia the most.
Yes.
I think he got off to that great start in April, and he's probably thinking, hey, I'm an MVP candidate. And then he struggled and never got out of it. Tried to get out of it, gets down on himself. Bruce Bochy's mentioned it before. That's probably the biggest one. I mean, all fingers are probably pointing to Adolis Garcia. He's not alone. And you mentioned, was it a career year? Or these guys, everybody, you have to have guys that have career years to win a World Series. There's no question about it. And then, the old saying is, they are who they are on the back of their baseball card. And if you look at Adolis Garcia, great season, career year last year. He's regressed below even his career numbers. But his career numbers, if you look at like OPS, he was not a 750 OPS guy for his career. 739 before the season started. It's just, you hope that they keep going that way. You hope that players are allowed to get better. They're not stuck in a vacuum. But the reality is, some of these guys are right now who they are, if not a little bit worse. So there's room to improve, but how much room to improve? And so, you look at Jonah Heim, who had 95 RBIs last year, even though he missed 3 weeks. I mean, he is at I think 612 OPS. Just struggling, and a critical bat that you expected was gonna be productive going forward. And he's still a young player, but man, there's just. Guys aren't having career years. That's basically the number one thing on offense. And then, if Adolis isn't hitting, well, Corey Seager's not getting the same protection. So Corey Seager's going to press a little bit. I mean, he always swings at the first pitch anyway. Yeah. But he's going to chase a little more because he's trying to do more. I mean, it just trickles down. And to your point about getting exposed in the postseason, I mean, that was playing with Evan Carter. It happened in real time in the postseason. If you're watching the postseason, it happened. And so this is a guy that. Young player. He just had his 22nd birthday. I think it's
coming up
this week.
It's this week. That's right.
And you're talking about asking him to play every day with a limited number of at bats last year. I know he did so good in the postseason, and then Wyatt Langford, of course, 161 minor league at bats. He was, in the minor leagues at this time last year after just getting drafted. Yeah. I think the lineup construction, the TV deal. And then guys slumping, it all has just kind of come together in the worst way.
Storm.
Yeah, and the ugly storm. And when you talk about expectations too, you have to look at what fans were expecting from the pitching. And one of the things that I thought was dangerous at the beginning of the year was that so many people were counting on, if we can just nurse it through until we get Tyler Mahle, who they signed in the offseason, but they knew was injured, right? Until we get Tyler Mahle and Jacob DeGrom back. Man.
And Max Scherzer.
And Max Scherzer.
Yeah.
And I think it's so dangerous to rely on pitchers, especially older pitchers like Scherzer, who's now 40, or like DeGrom, who's in his mid to late 30s, right? Yeah. It's difficult to rely on those guys to be sort of the savior. They're great, obviously. Look at the back of their baseball cards. But they're still coming back from an injury.
Yeah. Well, sorry, Abby, but when you're starting in a hole, you're already relying on your depth.
Right.
So then when the depth gets hurt, then you got to go to another wave of depth. So when Cody Bradford, who pitched so well those first 3 starts, when he got hurt, that left them a starter short. So they had to go to Jack Leiter, which, hey, Jack's going to be fine. I really think he's going to be fine. But he wasn't ready. Mm-hmm. And it just trickled down. I mean, Yerson Garabito, who was not in organized baseball the last 2 years and is a 28-year-old rookie, he made a start, and they actually won that game because Corey Seager hit 2 home runs. But that's the problem that waiting on these guys created. And it looked like Scherzer was going to come back from his back injury. Then he had the nerve issue that's still bothering him to this day.
Fighting.
So it just hasn't worked out the way they thought. And then DeGrom's schedule, he's on schedule, but for the last month. And they
Right.
were thinking, hey, we're going to plug him in. He's going to be awesome. A rotation of Eovaldi, Scherzer, and DeGrom in the postseason in a short series. You're not going to lose that series, or it's going to be really hard to lose it. And that just hasn't come together.
Yeah, and it's almost like you're waiting for not really the other shoe to drop with the bad news, but you're hoping for some good news, because Scherzer continues to get, these little stints on the IL, and you can just see. Jeff and I were out at BP the other day when DeGrom was there, John Gray was there. I mean, you could almost feel like the anticipation of just every single player watching from the dugout and hoping, please come back. Please be good. Please come back. So it's something, that they, again, just you didn't know that DeGrom wasn't going to be ready. You didn't know that Scherzer wasn't going to be ready, and it does trickle down. But I do want to point out, I think if it were another manager besides Bruce Bochy, the Rangers wouldn't even be in the position that they're in right now, because Bruce Bochy, one of the greatest skippers of all time, will be in the Hall of Fame, no doubt. He knows the buttons to push for the players. He knows when to pull away. He knows to instill confidence. Josh Smith, prime example of that. Josh Smith has been picking up this season, changed my mind about Josh Smith and really shown me what he's capable of. So for Bruce Bochy to be able to know how to delegate his team in such just a respectful manner, getting the best out of these guys, I mean, it really could be a lot worse if Bruce Bochy were not there on a daily basis.
No doubt about it. He's one of those guys. When he first got here, the line on him always was, when he starts talking in the clubhouse, the heart rate of every person in the room goes down. And I think that's still true. That said, Boch has tried everything this year, everything. Even taking Marcus Semien out of that that leadoff spot in the batting order.
Yeah.
I mean, he has really tried to push and pull, and you know what? Some of it has worked. Ultimately, he's tried to get back to what makes baseball players the most comfortable, and that is coming to the ballpark each and every day, knowing what they will be doing that day.
Well, and he waited a long time.
He did
to make changes. He really did, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the Josh Young injury.
Yes,
huge
of course.
factor, but it allowed Josh Smith to play, and he was very productive. Should have been an all-star. But anyway, he believes that. Bruce Bochy believes that what you just said. The best thing for an offense is to plug you in, know where you're going every day. You're comfortable, your peace of mind, and he really believed that these guys were going to snap out of it, and they didn't. So then he had to start making some changes finally.
Right now, we're going to get ready to talk about a lot more regarding this team. We're going to talk about what's happening with the pitching, but first, Abby's got some great news.
Well, guys, we like to say here that the ceiling is the limit, but let me tell you about the floors. We're talking about Empire today. Our floors are looking great, and that is thanks to Empire Today. They are a company that specializes in floors solely. So they're not trying to sell you other stuff. They know their craft. They're sticking to it, much like we're going to stick to Rangers baseball, and Rangers baseball players sticking to baseball. We're not trying to play football or anything else. But with Empire Today, you will get to shop at home convenience, the right products for your needs, quick professional installments at low guaranteed prices. So some other competitors, they try to tell you that they've got the best deal or they can do it the fastest, this, that, and the other. You end up spending a ton of money, and what are you left with? Like a hole in your floor?
You know what you gotta do. And when we're on our other set, you're gonna see it. Empire Central did our other set, the floor on it. It's beautiful. It's fantastic, and we really appreciate their work. And look, like we've said, there are so many imitators out there, right? You try to be this greatest, the best floor company. The others can't even compete.
No. Quality, service, speed, they are going to be your end-all, be-all when it comes to floors. Shopping is a breeze. They actually have a curated shopping process. They can do a virtual floor design, so you know what you're getting before you even purchase it. That is why they are the best. You can schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount code when they use promo code DLLS. Restrictions may apply. See empiretoday.com/DLLS for some really nice floors.
Speaking of DLLS, This is DLLS. This is us. This is what we're doing from now on. We all tweeted it out this morning. We are on a new team. It's so cool and so exciting to be a part of it, and we want you to be a part of it. Please, like us as much as you can. Subscribe, please. Subscribe as much as you can. I know we've already had a great day. We're getting subscribers. We're getting likes. We're getting all kinds of traffic on the social media channels, and I know there are lots of you watching it here on YouTube, but we're going to do daily podcasts for you each and every day. We are going to do pre and post game shows. We are going to do things like what we around here call emergency podcasts, when someone like CD Lamb signs. Yeah, CD signed today, 4 years, $136 million, and our Cowboy crew, who had done their first show of the day,
they're running it back.
They had gone. They were going to go
They're
have
at the bar.
lunch.
Yeah.
In fact, they'd already had a shot of Fireball right at the end of the thing. Let's go down and we'll have some lunch. And then boom, CD signs. They're back. They are going to do another podcast to talk about CD Lamb. That's what we do here. We are DLLS. We cover all 4 sports. We cover them all on a daily basis, and we are so glad to be a part of it. We're going to talk later about you becoming a diehard. So stay tuned for that. And look at this, today only. DLLS launch day sale. You get $12 off, and you see the diehard. That's a tease, because we are going to talk about what you can do, how you can become a diehard. It's DLLS, and this is the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan, Abby Jones, Jeff Wilson, and really super glad to be here. All of us were sort of doing our due diligence last week. You were out there when DeGrom pitched. I think we all missed Rocker pitching.
Right.
And then I was out there talking to several of the guys in Frisco and AA last week. And it's really, Chris Young always says it, Jeff. Chris Young said it ever since he got here. You can't have enough pitching. You can never have enough pitching. And boy, it's proven itself a million times. But let's talk pitching. Let's talk first about what DeGrom looked like, and how soon I know we're going to see at least one more rehab start.
Yeah.
How soon can we expect him back?
Well, he looked great. I mean, the first 2 hitters actually went double single, and they threw the guy out at second, trying to stretch it into a double. So Jacob DeGrom's down 1-0 after 2 batters. I think he said, the hell with this.
Yeah.
Because then he went heavy slider, and those fools could not touch his slider. The AA missions, Padres prospects and minor leaguers had never seen a slider like that. And, he touched 100. His first strikeout was actually an 100-mile-per-hour fastball. So he goes out there, he works efficiently like he does. After those first 2 hits, he didn't give up anything. It was really, really good. Then afterward, felt really comfortable talking about it, felt good, I feel good, all that stuff. Talked about how the pitches he threw, heater, slider, changeup. And then he's like, well, I don't really know what my schedule is. So it turns out he did say afterward, after the cameras are off, that he's probably going to pitch Tuesday in Round Rock, and that is the truth. He has been scheduled to pitch down there against Oklahoma City, the Dodgers affiliate. So he's going to get some decent bats that he's going to see. Probably stretch him out. He pitched 2 innings at Frisco, probably 3 this time, and then Chris Young kind of opened the door to him returning a lot sooner than what was thought. They were thinking there would be 4 rehab starts. He'd return in middle September, but now he may finish his rehab in the big leagues. That's just reading between the lines of what Chris Young said on a national radio show yesterday, and it makes a lot of sense. They did it with Eovaldi last year when he came back from his 6-week absence, and circumstances obviously are different, but Jacob DeGrom needs to pitch in the major leagues this year. He says it. The Rangers say it. He needs to have enough innings, starts under his belt to know what to go out to work on in the offseason. Mentally, he's out of rehab mode. He needs that so that he can just go into a full normal offseason and get ready for what you hope is a 33-start workload. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. Coming off his second Tommy John surgery, he hasn't had a full season, a full inning workload since 2019. And in 2020, he was healthy. He pitched the whole season, but it was the COVID year, so it was only a 60-game
season.
So he's dealt with injuries the 2 years before the Rangers signed him. Obviously, last year with the Tommy John. So this is big, and I know people are like, oh, it doesn't matter. He doesn't need to pitch. Blah, blah, blah. No, he needs to pitch. He 100% needs to pitch, and he needs it, and the Rangers need it.
The most important part of this is the final step of the rehab process, and this is one that you have to take serious. It's the mental side of it. You can't fake a game and at any other point in this rehab process. So for him to be able to get over this mental hurdle of, I'm Jacob DeGrom.
Yeah.
I am Jacob DeGrom.
Yeah.
And I can do what I'm known to do. It's not gone away. I didn't lose it. It's there and it's capable, and that's what you saw. I mean, you said that his fastball hit 100 miles an hour. That was the first strikeout. He even kind of made a joke. He was like, I could have struck everybody out with my slider, but he was, he's Jacob DeGrom. He was trying.
It's spring training, too.
Yes.
Right.
That's
right.
He's trying things.
Right.
Yeah, and he was trying to throw everything, work on his arsenal.
Yeah.
We know that he's one of the best pitchers in the league with command. And what did you think about that when you were at Frisco?
I mean, it was pretty funny. The second pitch, I think the umpire just missed it. It should have been a strike, and he's afterwards. You between innings, you saw them talking, and Jake was like, "I wanted to know where that pitch was at."
Yeah,
he was competing. That's why he changed. That's why he made the adjustment. Whenever a big leaguer pitches to minor leaguers, whether it's in a spring game on the backfields or whether it's a rehab assignment, like their approach is just go out the window and they're hacking. They're going after the first heater they see. And they may put it in play, and they did that to Jacob, and I think he knew that, and I think it wore him out. He's like, I'm not doing that. I'm done with that. I'm done with.
He's trying to play nice a little bit, yeah.
And so just the slider. It's all of his pitches coming out of the same tunnel.
Yeah.
Fastball is 100 miles an hour to the bottom of the zone, and then all of a sudden, if it's a slider, it's gonna move. It's gonna move one way. Changeup's gonna move inside to right-handed hitters. So. They really don't know what's coming, and if he can get to that point, I really want to see it. Mm-hmm. I want to see peak Jacob DeGrom next year, and just enjoy the ride. The Rangers have never won a Cy Young award.
Right.
Ferguson Jenkins came in second. Yu Darvish came in second. They need to win one, and Jacob DeGrom's one. When he's healthy, he's the best pitcher in the world.
Yeah, and the reality is that, to Abby's point about that mental hurdle to overcome, we may not see that Jacob DeGrom, the one you just described, we may not see him this year, right?
Right.
He may not be back to commanding how he normally commands this year, because you know what? There is also within that mental hurdle, trusting yourself, trusting the injury, right?
Go-to quote, trust your stuff.
You got to trust yourself, and that is exactly what Jacob DeGrom will be working on, and exactly why, Jeff, to your point, Jacob DeGrom has to pitch this year. And look, it doesn't matter what anybody out there thinks that he shouldn't. It's not like football. It's not like this is garbage time, right? It's not like we're afraid that Dak Prescott's going to get hurt in the garbage time of the Green Bay game, right? We're only concerned that Jacob DeGrom gets these opportunities, gets these reps, so that next year he can be the Jacob DeGrom you're talking about that could win a Cy Young award. And you know what? If he gets there this year, all the better. It'll be, make the final month of the season that much more fun to watch too.
Yeah, and then when the Rangers go into the off-season mode, which you could argue they're doing right now, you don't know how much money they're going to have to spend, but if they know they don't have to worry about Jacob DeGrom, perfect. Put that one. That's one. Cross it off the list. One less thing you have to worry about, and then depending on free agency and who they re-sign and who they don't, and who comes up from the minors, whether it's Jack Leiter or whether it's Kumar Rocker, who's going to be in Round Rock Wednesday, it looks like. They can worry about that stuff, but Jacob DeGrom, don't have to worry about him.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, one of my favorite things to do is watch like an overlay of Jacob when he's tunneling, because his pitches are literally, it's like mesmerizing. I like have my notes out and try to draw a little diagram. It's horrible. Anyway, I'd rather see the real thing in person. The sample size has been small, but 2025 will be very nice with a touch of DeGrom in the starting rotation.
Well, and we don't have a lot of time to talk about this, but we could also see, maybe as early as this week, we might see the future of Rangers pitching come to fruition. We've seen Jack Leiter up at the big league level a couple of times this year, and they didn't go great. I mean, he'd say it. They didn't work out as well as any of us would have hoped they would have, but he's gone back to the minor leagues, and he's done a great job there. And also, Rocker is back from his injury, and he has been unbelievable. In fact, if we could take a look at what Kumar Rocker did in his 5 starts at AA Frisco, look at this. Look at
his
that.
ERA is invisible.
It's an invisible ERA.
He gave up 1 run.
29 strikeouts in 19 2/3. Are you kidding me?
3 walks.
Oh,
Don't
wow.
lose
Okay,
sight of that
sorry.
one.
Oh,
Don't
yeah,
lose sight of
sorry.
that one.
3
Look,
walks.
yeah, look at that strikeout to walk ratio, 29 3. Are you kidding me? And I was in Frisco talking to their pitching coach and their manager this week, and they were like, the word was he bullied them. He bullied these hitters at that level. They just had nothing for him. So he'll be moving up, likely to take Leiter's spot at the AAA level, and Jack will. Likely, and this is just us speculating, but likely Jack's coming up, and he will make another major league start, Jeff.
Yeah, he needs to. He's on the 40-man roster. He's been great. His last 2 starts have been phenomenal.
Amazing.
They really have been. He was coming off of rest, so he didn't pitch deep into the games, but when he was in the games, his first start, 3 2/3 innings. How many outs is that? That's 11 outs.
Yeah.
He had 11 strikeouts. He struck everybody out. Wow. All right. So he pitches the next night, or his next time in Salt Lake. Salt Lake at elevation, ball flies. Gave up 1 run, struck out 9. So something has clicked with him, and really it started to click, I think, last summer when the Rangers pulled him out of competition, had him work on his stuff. You could hear him. It was just different talking to him in the offseason, talking to him in spring training. He's always had the polish. We know who his dad is, but just the words that were coming out were different.
Yep.
And the conviction seemed a little bit different. It seemed like he'd been humbled by the game, and he probably has. And he definitely has been. But at AAA, if you can look at other starters in the Pacific Coast League, incredibly hitter-friendly league, he's one of the best starters in that whole league. And he needs the chance. The Rangers need to know what they've got from him. So bring him up. Let him spend the whole month of September with the team. He doesn't have to worry. He knows he's making the starts. It does wonders for players when they know, hey, I'm starting. I don't have to look over my shoulder and wonder if I'm going to get tapped on the shoulder and sent back down.
That's true.
Let him pitch the last month. He's going to get comfortable. He's going to find his way. And you know what? If he doesn't, okay. Then you make decisions, maybe not based on just September, but maybe the early part of next year too, and figure out what you're going to do with him, because there is talent there. Whether it's a late innings reliever, whether it's a number 4 or 5 starter, whatever you definitely need to get something out of the number 2 overall pick in the 2021 draft. You got to get something out of it when you're drafting that high. The Rangers have gone 2, 3, 4 from 2021 to 2023. Leiter, Rocker, White, Langford. Looks like Rocker's on his way. Langford's here, but you got to get something out of at least 2 of them.
Yeah.
3 out of 3 would be nice,
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
the way this roster's constructed with the money put into the core. So it's important for Jack Leiter to also pitch. And hey, Rocker doesn't need to be put on the 40-man this offseason, so let him stay in the minors. But I think he's early 2025.
And the important thing too for Leiter is that the strikeouts translate at the major league level.
He's got to put away hitters.
That's definitely going to be number 1. We talked about it earlier this week, but I want to point out one of my favorite Jack Leiter moments was his first start in Detroit, because you know who his dad is. You know the name on the back of the jersey. That's so much added pressure. We've talked about, athletes handling that added pressure, but I think people just forget that he's still a kid that's living out his childhood dream of playing in Major League Baseball, following his dad's footsteps. And I'll never forget, it was this moment that the camera guy zoomed in on Leiter before his first Major League start in Detroit. I think his dad was in attendance too, and you could just see him. He was mentally trying to get everything that he could to just keep his composure. I mean, it almost took you back to a moment of you related with him in that moment, even though, like, who can, but you're like, you just saw him kind of trying to get himself together, take some deep breaths in. This is his moment that he's been waiting for his entire life, and really calm himself. And that's why I love the game of baseball. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, whose name's on the back, or if you're going to make a name for yourself. It's a game that, everyone has to learn and figure out. I hope that in this next opportunity for him at the major league level, he can play a little bit more to Jack Leiter, and maybe, drop Leiter mentally if you need to for a second. Just be Jack. Again, throw your stuff, be confident with your stuff. But he's been lights out at the minor league level, and you hope it translates with Major League Baseball.
Yeah, it's called humanity, right? These are human beings, and he is showing his humanity in that moment and in all of those moments. And so, yes, it's a difficult process. The Rangers are off today, so we've got more coming up as we talk about some really cool things happening in Major League Baseball right now. But first, I want to tell you about those diehards, those P1s, right? If you're a ticket guy, you know about P1s. If you're a ticket gal, you know about P1s. Or if you're a fan of the fan, you know about the Tolos. That's what our diehards are. Our diehards are our people who are there for us every time. And what diehards get is awesome. They get 20% off all events. And you go, wait, events? Yeah, we're going to have events. We're going to have watch parties at various bars and pubs and restaurants, and then we're going to do really cool things. One of the things our brethren in Phoenix did, PHNX, they rented out the pool at whatever that
Chase Field.
Place, Chase. I was going to say Bank One Ballpark.
Bob. Yeah.
Chase Field.
Kind of a big deal for us last year, Rags.
Yeah. So
a lot of things happened there.
Yeah. So they had the pool rented, and the people in Phoenix bought them like that, right? But that's the type of event we are going to do for you, and you're going to get 20% off as one of our diehards. There's also some real savings on merch. If you join as a diehard, guess what you get? You get a $35 shirt, right? A free shirt.
You do.
You'll almost pay for your deal. Look at there. Become a diehard and get a free
Cowboys one
shirt.
is very cool.
And that I love that old logo. Yeah, that old dude fighting. Yeah, you almost pay for your entire diehard subscription by getting that shirt back. So we can't encourage you enough to become a diehard. Hang with us. We're going to hang with you. We are dedicated. This is so much fun for me, but to get out there and chat with you and talk to you and go to events with you. So the best way for you to do that is to be a diehard.
And I'll say this. There's P1s and there's Tolos. Be all three. Be a diehard
right.
too.
Sure.
We love those guys.
Yeah.
We have friends who work for those stations. We're not fighting anybody.
The bigger the better.
We're not taking anybody's territory.
No.
So join all three. You're going to get great stuff. So speaking of great stuff,
Yes.
and John mentioned it. There's merchandise. There is a merch store. All City has a merch store for all of its 5 markets. And again, if you become a diehard, you get a free shirt. You can find them at store.allcity.com. It pops up. You shop by city. So where do you go? You go obviously to DLLS. And let's see. Let's go down to Rangers gear here on the old
eye on something?
on the old interwebs. And I do have there's 6 shirts.
Okay.
Okay.
I like that.
I'm probably gonna get the For Love of Texas tee, which is pretty sweet.
Okay.
It's like a target with a pennant that says Texas in it, for the love of, and then Texas Chew. It's like just a blue shirt with
I
a
like
wada,
that.
with a wada, like a double bubble, except it's Texas Chew. So I'm gonna get those. Hats are coming, which obviously is my lifeblood. I gotta have a hat or I can't function in life. And so, the prices are right. The T-shirt quality is fantastic. You can even get gift cards. You know
Nice.
what? Stick it under the tree at
Father's
Christmas.
Day, great gift.
What do we got? Labor Day? I don't know if that's a gift-giving holiday, but Columbus Day. Hey, maybe you're Italian and you want to give give out an All City T-shirt. Well, hell, we can help you out there. So Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, they're all coming. My birthday's coming.
When is
Hey,
it?
It's November
Tuesday.
13th. It's
You
the
don't need a holiday to get a gift.
It's the big 5-0. But you're right. You do not need a holiday to get a gift. Treat yourself. Buy
That's right.
yourself a gift
That's
of
right.
these high-quality T-shirts and merch at
And-
store.allcitynetwork.com.
Another part of this show is we want to interact with you guys. This is a community there are 3 of us here. There are a lot of you there, and you can interact on the chat. We would love to get to know your opinions.
We've seen a lot of people
Yeah.
interacting. Thank you for your comments.
Yeah, we've got a few compliments even.
Yeah, they're
Did you see
nice
that,
guys.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently they weed
Appreciate
out the
that.
bad ones, so,
So,
you guys are in trouble if
If
you're
you've got a
tweeting
hot
bad.
take, let us know. If we read it, I mean, we'd love to debate about some things. Yeah, comment now. Let us know. We're going to talk about what's happening in the league here. If you've got opinions, hot takes, you think we're amazing, or you have other opinions,
No, only amazing.
Yeah, that's the only one.
That's the
No,
bar.
believe
That's
me.
yeah.
your world, we're living in it.
Hey.
Anyway, it's a conversation, so be sure to join a part of the conversation. We want to talk to you for
I've
sure.
heard it all too.
Yeah,
all.
no comments
All.
about my posture. I'm gonna
Yeah,
lean a lot.
I was gonna say.
I'm gonna, you know.
We cut Radigan's tie, so I don't think
yeah,
they're worried
you know,
about
I'm,
your
I'm
posture.
leaning.
Yeah.
I might burp.
Yeah.
I might cuss. You never
Yeah.
know what you're
There
gonna
has
get
been a
from
little
me.
cussing on the show, which I'm not mad at.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
not mad at. Not
No.
one bit. No. And yeah, speaking of these cool things happening in Major League Baseball, Abby, history is being made today, Jeff. And when we're talking baseball history,
Yeah.
we're
It's
going
tough to
back
do.
to the 1800s.
Right.
There is no truth to the rumor that I would have covered a game like this in the 1800s. But
No.
how about Danny Jansen?
Yeah, that's pretty neat. It's might be the biggest rarity of them
Yeah, by
all,
far.
You know, and basically he was with the Blue Jays. They were playing a game against the Red Sox. It was postponed. Okay, great. Trade deadline comes. Well, guess who gets traded to the Red Sox? Danny Jansen. So they're making up the game today. He has been inserted to catch. I think Alex Cora, the Red Sox manager, was really aware of what was going
Yes.
on here and played along with it. There have been a lot of stories written, but it's just one of those things that you're like, holy cow, this can happen only in baseball.
And
The
did you
irony.
say the part? Excuse me, that he was batting
Right.
when it got
Right,
rained out.
right. He's batting.
Just need like a walkie-talkie.
So he's batting.
Excuse me, wrap this up.
He's been pinch hit for, and now he's in catcher. Apparently, the announcement in the press box was pinch hitting for Danny Jansen is Dalton Varsho, now catching Danny Jansen. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
crazy
fantastic.
stuff. So
hilarious.
that's pretty awesome.
Did you guys remember the game last year with Austin Hedges where he was
Oh, yeah.
put in and he was wearing a Pirates catching gear?
Yep.
It's so much funnier when it's Austin Hedges because he's
Right.
arguably
Right.
one of the most hilarious players I've ever talked to. So it's the fact that that's almost something he would, by accident kind of do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you. It's the irony of baseball and it's hilarious.
Yeah, in 2009, John,
Yes.
you probably remember
Yes.
Darren O'Day.
Yep.
The Rangers acquired him from the Mets on a waiver claim, and so he went to Toronto, and he flew to the ballpark, got there during the middle of the game, went to the bullpen, warmed up, and the Rangers needed him. And so out comes Darren O'Day wearing the jersey of Kaysen Gabbard because the Rangers didn't have enough time to get him a Darren O'Day
uniform
jersey.
made, yeah.
So not only does he not know anybody, he met the manager
It's good.
On the
Washington
mound.
at the time on the
On the
mound.
mound, yep.
And he wasn't even wearing the right jersey.
No.
So those little quirky things happen, like the
Hey, 162 games a year.
that's
I mean,
right. And
it's gonna happen.
Darren O'Day became an all-star now with the Rangers, but
Yeah.
great career that he had.
O'Day, 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 O'Day.
Hey,
O'Day, O'Day.
I love the solo. Speaking
Nice
of
work.
Babe Ruth, his jersey sold. Do you guys know how much?
No.
The Collier shot jersey. I saw that sold. I just didn't see the price.
$24.12
million?
million.
24.
It is the
Man.
highest memorabilia
Yeah, going
ever
away.
sold. Yeah.
Going away.
So that was 32, right? 1932 World Series at Wrigley Field. He did that. This is pretty funny. I don't know if it's funny or not, but when ESPN was counting down the sports century at the end of the last century, and one or two, it was going to be Babe Ruth or Michael Jordan. And of course, I was in the Babe Ruth camp, though I love Michael Jordan.
Yes.
And it ended up Babe Ruth being number 2. And then, they cut away to a word from our sponsors, and it was Jordan. It was the Jordan brand.
Wow.
So I boycotted ESPN for one day because of that.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
But Babe Ruth.
But you know who
So
the new
great.
Babe Ruth is? Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
who's gotten to 40-40. He's the 6th member of the 40-40 club, Jeff. There's a month left in this season.
Yeah.
He could get, and I realize it's not easy, and it's, but he could get to 50-50.
He could. Last year, what did Cunha did 40-70. I think that 50-50 is very attainable, and having spoken to our good friends in the Japanese media who came and covered Darvish, and were so great for all those years. They have their opinions about Shohei Ohtani, and they think that he is a little selfish when it comes to his statistics. He's very aware of them. So if 50-50 is attainable, he's going to do whatever he can to get it. And he just started throwing off the mound again, so he should be a pitcher again next year. But yeah, that's pretty special. And I think Bobby Witt Jr. has got a chance for 40-40. Of course, Senior. I know Senior
very well.
Saw them at the All-Star game. It was a cool moment, and almost won the home run derby. And Bobby, I've known since he was a senior in high school, so it's great to see that. Also happening in baseball is what Aaron Judge is doing.
Yes,
2 baseballs. He has surpassed 50. As we know, the American League record is 62, which he set on the last day of the 2022 season at Globe Life Field, hitting the ball off of Jose.
Raise your hand if you were there.
Jose
we were all there.
Tinoco.
Raise your hand.
I was not there.
You weren't?
I was at the first game of the doubleheader. My son had a game that night.
Okay.
And so I'm driving around the parking lot because I had to do an interview with Ross Fenstermaker, the Rangers vice president. Yeah. And I told him, I couldn't stay around. My son's got a game, and I really need to watch that. If Aaron Judge hits a home run, great. But if my son hits a home run and I miss it, not good. And
you're such a good dad.
Henry Wilson hit a home run in that.
Did he?
Game. So
did he really?
Yeah, I'm not out of the park. He was only 9 at the time.
I don't care.
Let's go, Henry.
A home run.
So I had to. It was a very fair trade.
Yeah,
very glad to make that trade.
That's the right trade every time.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, if he hits 63 again, the Yankees are coming to town at the end of the week. He'll be at Globe Life Field this weekend, so there's a chance to. He obviously has hit a notable home run there before, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a couple this weekend.
So one thing to mention is that he adjusted his approach at the plate May 5th. He's bringing his left foot closer to the plate.
Okay.
And he's hitting more neutral and a less open stance. And since then, it's been 94 games since then. He's had 45 home runs.
How many?
45.
That'll work.
Yeah,
just
that's a
from
lot.
changing that.
That'll work.
Just mechanics. He's obviously a monster. On pace for 63. Like we said, we saw 62. Homered in 16 of his last 27 games.
Yeah,
but
that's so fantastic.
When he hit 50 and 51, he basically had to kind of be escorted out to receive his standing ovation.
Oh.
So a humble superstar. Also on the Ohtani note, did you guys know he's the first Dodger to join the 40-40 club?
I did not know that.
And he's the fastest player to do so. He did
Yeah,
it in
I knew that.
126 games.
Yep.
I knew that. Yeah. So who was the first 40-40? It was Canseco, right?
Canseco, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Yep.
I think Bobby Bonds had come really close.
Yep.
I don't know if Barry ever did it. By the time he was hitting 40 homers, I don't know if his knees allowed him to steal 40 bases anymore. But it still is a magical club.
It is.
Oh, hot take. My friend Russell Dorsey tweeted this, and it said, one day we might look at the 9-year, $360 million as one of the best bargains in MLB history. Running out of words to describe what we're watching.
Yeah, it is. It's Babe Ruth.
Accurate?
It's historic.
It's very good.
Let us know in the chat.
Like his what is it? His slugging percentage or his OPS right now? It's
ridiculous.
Going to be the highest among non-steroid linked players since Ted Williams.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So you're talking.
Didn't he say he was
long,
just
long
getting
time ago.
locked in?
And maybe.
I think I read that. That
Yeah.
he was just now getting locked in, and I'm like, I don't even understand what that means.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're not locked in?
Well, he's strong enough where if he hits it, even if he doesn't hit it right, it's got a chance to at least do some damage. But if his swing's right, his timing's right, if he's feeling comfortable, as we all know, that's what locked in means to those guys, then that's trouble for.
Time flies when you're having fun, guys. We've exhausted our time. But guess what? We've got a show every day this week, so we are going to talk about all of this again. Lots more Rangers coming up. We mentioned they play the White Sox, then they play the Yankees, and they come home for that Yankee series.
Is home, yeah.
Yep. So we're going to be here to talk with you about it. DLLS Rangers podcast. We'll be here all week long with you to talk ball, y'all.
Thank you guys.
We all silly like the mayor.